This excites me a lot because as a big bourbon fan, bourbon and beef is two of my favorite things in the whole universe.
This excites me too, Stephen.
Excites me a lot.
The real question is, how do you keep the cowboys from drinking too much bourbon before supper's ready?
Have less bourbon.
They have less bourbon.
That's the only way I figured out how to do it. So like we talked about earlier, you know, I like good bourbon and love sipping it, ice, or even old fashions, but what I cook with is not that sipping bourbon, because you're going to essentially cook all the alcohol out of this when you cook it, and so you don't want to be watching your money go up the chimney per se. And so what we do is we take our bourbon. I like to mix it up first with honey, you know, really get that honey mixed in there, add a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of Worcestershire in there as well, get that cleaned up and some more, and then I take a nice big sniff of it to make sure that I've had enough bourbon in there. So like when I made these ones, I put together the recipe and I gave it a good big, you know, smell, and I'm like, there's not enough bourbon in that. So I just took the bottle and I added what I wanted to add back to it. And then I added a little more honey to it so we could get that to caramelize when we cook it up.
So when I do this, do I put it in this bowl and cover it, or can I put it in a plastic bag?
What I really like to do is the plastic bag thing. And you can even shorten that marinade time if you happen to have one of those seal bags that sucks all the air out. And then what that does is it forces that liquid inside the meat, and so that can speed up the process as well. You can actually get a good marinade in just a couple hours if you were able to have that piece of equipment.
Can you ever say, hey, I actually left it in there too long?
Yeah, you can leave it in there too long because there's a process working right now and it's breaking down the meats. So we've sat here, we've smelled it, we've looked at it, we've talked about it. Now we gotta go cook it so we can eat it.
All right, I'll grab this.
Oh yeah, we might need that.
Wow.
Are you ready for this?
That looks awesome, Stephen.
It smells awesome too, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh,
that
that
bourbon
smells so
cooking
good.
down and all that marinade and that beef just perfect like that. You know, we talked about a lot of important things in the kitchen. One, making sure you got a hot pan that this is going into. You take it out of the marinade first, get it all seared off, put a little marinade back in, that butter to emulsify everything, bring it all back together so that it'll cling. Butter, like it clings to my insides, clings to the steak right there too. And so we just want to make sure we bring the whole dish back out. And since we did the marinade with soy and have that little bit of an Asian spin to go with that bourbon, we finish it off with a little green onion and sesame to kind of pull that dish all together.
Stephen, that looks so awesome. We have beef, butter, and bourbon. I cannot wait to try it.
Bourbon, and honey.
And honey. So I can taste the sweetness. The meat is so tender. And I really can taste the bourbon. That really has really awesome bourbon flavor.
Yeah.
Well done, well done. This is so good, Steve.
For more Cowboy in the Kitchen, visit MontanaBeefCouncil.org.